It is kind of funny that you chose to play more Tony Hawk's Remake, considering the conversation. That
I had
is,
to get back into top 1,000 area with my leaderboard scores. I just kind of one of those things that works hand in hand. It all worked out.
yeah, it's pretty weird. I haven't really played too many remakes as of late.
I've played a few. Redux content.
Remake content,
Yeah.
remake content.
Remastered content.
Ooh, mastered content, just in general.
I am the master of content.
Have you ever played a game where you could tell there was no good audio engineer and it just was never mastered?
You mean like House of the Dead?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just played through something on my channel and it was not mastered well at all. I don't remember what it was, but it was so obnoxiously loud. Anyways, what's going on, guys? Welcome to Omnia Obscurium.
Yeah. Today we're doing Redux stuff.
Yeah,
What was the last remake
Dead
you played?
Space. Oh,
That really?
I'm currently
I
doing a
mean,
playthrough of Brilliant Diamond, and we just did a race of Halo CE.
that's right. We played Halo CE because it was cursed. We were using the traditional graphics, so I'm not sure if that counts.
I just think
But
because of the cursed edition, you have to use the traditional, and I don't think we were using the traditional graphics. I think it uses both.
like a mix of the two.
I think so.
Weird.
It is weird. You guys don't know Halo Curse is weird. Check it out. It's fun.
Yeah, we did that.
But right now,
Uh,
yeah, I'm playing Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. Does that count?
yeah, actually, that's a perfect example of. Do you know how? Do you remember the original?
Yes,
Give some
yes.
insight into how it compares.
Yeah. I actually quite enjoy Brilliant Diamond. I know it didn't do so good in terms of people like rating it because they were like, it's just another Pokemon. And then everybody that likes Pokemon was like, that's literally the point.
It's a Pokemon that everyone already got that they wanted. Like Diamond and Pearl were the last ones I played. Even I was kind of hyped about it.
Right. I actually recommend it. It's pretty good. The graphics are clean, frame rate's good. But this episode isn't 100% about good remakes, but we'll get to
No,
that.
the remake I'm playing right now is Pro Skater 1+2 because I'm literally always playing some kind of Tony Hawk's game that just it's like a third arm and appendage I can't get rid of.
You
Like
do
it
it.
grows out of my body, the hand that plays THPS, and I'm just like, yeah, this has to happen. It's like my body needs it. It's a nutritional source for me to
It's
have
like
this.
your vitamin T.
Yeah, like vitamin T.
um, what okay, so when we were talking about this, you said you had a lot to say, but what positive statements do you have to make for the remaster community, remake community, etc.? And what
There are a lot of really good ones.
Mhm.
There between the Crash Bandicoot games, Pro Skater, there's a lot of really good remastered content as stuff comes out on consoles later on and on PC later on with higher resolution textures. DMC, the Devil May Cry entry DMC got a high res texture update at one point a while back, and that turned out really well.
I
So there's
personally
there's real benefit to having Redux content, right?
I know it's an engine thing, but I feel like if you have a game that's out and you're a developer that's still selling it on Steam, putting out a free DLC that just upreses the entire game is like one of the smartest things you could do right now.
Right. There's so many games that could use that kind of love and care, and it'd be so easy to do.
Now, what does that fall under? A Redux at that point? That's a Redux?
Remaster.
That's a
It
remaster.
yeah, that's a remaster. Proper remasters aren't just upscaled and given a higher resolution. They're given brand new textures and high resolution normal maps and things that actually make the game pop and stand out. Some of them get higher upgrades to the renderer, move from DX 10 or 11 to 12, which is really awesome. Resident Evil 3 and 2 and 7 all got DirectX 12 updates lately. that make them look beautiful. Like they've literally never looked better than this.
Right. Because I know some people don't define remaster, redux, and remake all the same. Like Crash
I think,
Bandicoot, Demon Souls, Spyro, those are all remakes, right? Because they're in a new engine, they were recoded, they're not the same game
yeah.
as they were.
Final Fantasy VIII Remastered is not a remaster. It's a full remake because they had to remake the assets and the game from the ground up.
Right.
Don't know if many people knew that. That is actually how that went down. They lost all of the assets, so they kind of just worked with what they had.
I think the majority of Final Fantasy games are just ported to PC, codes cleaned up, they uncompress a lot of the textures and call it a remaster, right?
Whereas, like,
Not
yeah,
7,
whereas like
obviously.
a Redux to me is Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, where they change the locations of shit, change a bunch of stats, refine a lot of the gameplay. Like everything comes down to bug fixes and optimization. A Redux is when you've moved everything around. It's like the director's cut of gaming, right?
Right. And
A Sonic
then
DX would be a Redux.
okay, that makes sense. So then like Metro Exodus Redux would just be like a reworking and rebalancing and maybe uncompressing some of the textures to make it pop a little more.
Right, changing some enemy spawn locations and fixing some out of bounds glitches and like really polishing up some of the gunplay to give it a more precise and tight movement.
Back in the day I was against a lot of remakes, but as I've gotten older, I think now is the time for a lot of reduxes, remakes, and
I
re-releases.
I appreciate new generations of artists taking things that were beloved to them and doing something new with them.
And what
I
an
really
honor.
do. It's special.
Like if I was invited to come write for Team Silent, there he goes talking about Silent Hill again. I would love to sit down and remaster 1 through 4. I think that would be so fun.
The opportunity to work on something like Resident Evil for me would be mind blowing. You
Right.
know, that's once in a lifetime opportunity as a fan to give some input for what I think would be like the perfect Resident Evil game. That would be absolutely mind blowing. Such an honor. It really is something special to see new generations of artists taking the opportunities they're given and full sending it with everything they have. And not even just new generations of artists, like the old dogs coming back and redoing a lot of their own stuff, like InXile Entertainment redoing Wasteland and The Bard's Tale.
Right.
Those are fantastic remakes.
I'll have to check those out at some time because I know I have a bunch of the early Bards games and I have a bunch of like Monkey Island stuff as well. And I've been hearing in the rumor mill that
Way
Monkey
Forward
Island
picked
might be
up
getting
somebody picked up Monkey Island. I think it's Way Forward. I might be wrong about that.
that'd be cool. Um, but there are dedicated teams or even straight up studios for just remasters and remakes, like Toys for Bob and was it Blue Point or Blue Hole?
I'm wrong. Return to Monkey Island was picked up by Devolver and is being developed by Terrible Toy Box.
Oh, awesome!
The art style is sick. I like it. This is what I would expect a modern Monkey Island to look like.
Check that out, everybody. That's going to be super fun.
Very do. Big fan of those games.
Now, a demake is a term used by the indie and hardcore review community, right?
Yeah, it's what happens when an indie game takes a game that's already existed and pulls it backward into a previous generation or a lower bit count or, takes it and makes it more retro than it is.
So,
Like Bloodborne demake.
yeah, I was going to say Bloodborne demake is a good example, but however, we should clarify Bloodborne demake does not directly follow Bloodborne. It is still an indie creator's
There's
mental vision.
the Doom Game Boy demake is really good.
Yeah, that one's really good.
In
Celeste,
t- in terms
Celeste
of
had one.
official demakes, there was the Resident Evil Game Boy Color port. I played that a long time ago.
Right.
Capcom full sent it and demade Resident Evil 1 for the Game Boy Color, and it wasn't finished, but it was a damn good idea.
You have straight up, Devolver Bootleg. They have a whole remake of their top selling library.
Right. Bayonetta demake.
Yep, Bayonetta demake. You can get that free on Steam. Just Google how to get Bayonetta 8-bit. That's pretty
It's
cool.
Yeah, very worth a look. Games that get demakes, the whole shtick to a demake is making sure that it's both true to its source material and feels like something that could have come out for that series in the time period you're trying to nail, right?
Facts.
Like it needs to feel like it's hardware appropriate. Like the developers may have also thought of this similar route to go with it. It just feels like demakes are like a precise art. That's something you have to have a different kind of perspective for.
I personally really enjoy demakes. I want to play Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight has a demake. I might play the Hollow Knight demake first.
Ukulele has the 64-bit tonic if you want to play that game in a demake fashion.
That's pretty sweet. And I don't want to play ukulele for personal reasons, but y'all can go right on ahead and do that. So, getting into the topic of remake, demake, reduxes, why don't we try to think of 3 games for each category that we would love to see?
uh right off the bat, I've got th- 3 remakes I would love to see.
Okay.
Dual Hearts by Atlas, totally forgotten game. Can't even think of many people who've played it. It's one of the greatest action RPGs ever made. That's not even an exaggeration.
It's
Uh,
iconic for sure amongst the
y-
cult community.
right. Hotel Dusk, Room 215, one of Sing's games for the Nintendo DS. The Switch would be perfect for it. The story is incredible. If you've never played it before, not super well known, but like one of the best things that the DS had to offer for sure.
If I may jump in, that's one of the games that I feel like would port really well to a cell phone, mobile gaming.
Right?
And I know a lot of people in the community know when they come into this channel, we don't
Mobile
segregate
games
mobile
bad.
gaming. We don't do that here though. Like
Yeah.
Hotel Dusk would be a very good mobile game.
Yeah, that's exactly what a mobile game should be. An amount of content that's hardware appropriate that would work with it, and the puzzles would go well with it. The game works fine. It would look good. Designed for a screen that small. That's how mobile gaming should be.
I feel like The World Ends with You for the DS would also be a
Another
good.
game that was my third remake was The World Ends with You. I'd love to see the first World Ends with You remade in the Neo engine.
Oh, that'd be sweet. You're talking like the full Spyro treatment.
Oh yeah. That would be so, and they have the 3D models for the World Ends with You 1 characters from Dream Drop Distance.
Right.
Now that I know that, my dreams are alive that maybe we get the World Ends with You 1 one day.
Well, that and they just released the PC new one.
Right.
But yeah, I would say it's definitely within the realm of possibility.
Remasters.
So those were complete
Probably,
remakes, right? Let me
yeah,
let me
those are
throw out
complete
mine.
remakes.
Yeah, let me throw out mine. My first one would have to be Police Knots.
That understandable. You really were like all over that game
I
for a
still
long
am.
time.
I still am. Like the fact that I haven't beat it makes me so sad. I need to go back to it and finish it one day because it really was so good. I honestly think that is a genre defining, very important piece of art that has been completely forgotten to the test of time.
Really unfortunate too, because like Kojima's early work, he's known so well now, but his early work goes underappreciated for just how genius he's always been.
Absolutely. Completely agree. Um my second one. I This is going to sound a little weird to some people, but I personally would love to see a Silent Hill 1 remake completely from the ground up.
There he fucking goes talking
I
about
know,
Silent Hill again.
but again, it's one of those games that I'm like extremely passionate about.
I
Love
get
it to death. I love the story, but I
And we
don't.
have the technology now to make Silent Hill 1 valid, right? Like we
Right.
have the tech to pull that off.
I just don't know if it's feasible because
With
it's been,
Konami being Konami,
yeah,
probably not.
and the story being bastardized by Tom Hewlett and things like that. It's just like we are a Tom Hewlett hate group just in
Wow.
disguise at this point.
Don't go harassing Tom Hewlett. Just
Don't do
personal
that.
disclaimer. Yeah, don't do that.
Plenty
Bad.
of
We don't
people like
condone
him.
that.
I don't know why, but they do. And last but not least, I think you played God, it was a early Jazz Jackrabbit. You ever heard of Jazz Jackrabbit?
Yeah.
I think a remake of Jazz Jackrabbit would be dope. But I think that's already happening.
One of the remakes that I wanted the most is already coming. Shoutouts to Crisis Core Reunion and Square Enix for like actually giving love to the Final Fantasy VII series the way it was supposed to be. Just putting that out there.
I don't think Jazz Jackrabbit got remastered. I think this is a meme. Yeah, Jazz Jackrabbit. A remade.
That's a weird pick.
It
That's an
is.
obscure pick.
But I have my reasons because it was that or Earthworm Jim. Because they're iconic games that have like changed the face of gaming and have been completely forgotten to the test of time.
I could totally see a modern Earthworm Jim really popping off.
Oh, I agree. And if not either one of those, a remake of Nightmare Creatures 1 and 2 on a single disc.
Or yeah, that would be pretty sweet. Nightmare Creatures kind of disappeared, didn't it?
Yes.
There was supposed to be a Nightmare Creatures remake.
I feel like it would do so well being like if From Software were to pick it up and do it, it would be so good.
Oh, yeah. It kind of reminds me of an early FromSoft game.
Right. Now remasters?
Uh, that's a rough one for me because I feel like a lot of games, when they're good, are made just right. But if they can be made a little bit better, then I'm all for it. Remasters.
When it comes to
Quake 4.
remasters, I'm so okay, Quake 4 is a good one. I'm so jaded because you have the Silent Hill duology being remastered and it's a total shit show. You have some of the God of War games being remastered and they don't come out that good, but they were still
Chains of Olympus. Cough, cough.
right. They were playable, but not good.
If I can play it better on an emulator, it wasn't good.
That's a fact. If it is just an emulator on a disc, that's not good. I have it on the Xbox original with some of the Sonic titles, I believe,
The
which
problem
is
with the Jack
not
and
good.
Daxter trilogy remasters back on the PlayStation 3, they were just an emulator on a disc on a console that couldn't handle it.
Oof.
They ran like ass.
We're talking like 29 FPS
Yeah, with
nonsense.
massive ass frame drops, constant freezing. Jack 3 practically crashed so much it was unplayable.
That's sad to hear. Jak and
Those
Daxter
were
is,
great games.
yeah, it's like another iconic, definitely
Treated
iconic.
like shit in the remaster populace. There are a lot of games that did not get good remasters. And then there are not good games that got remasters, like Uncharted, the trilogy. I still don't understand that.
It was popular.
Uncharted the movie, fantastic. Uncharted the video games, garbage. They're just movies.
I think in terms of remasters, I think Tomb Raider 1 through 4 would be really cool just to see like well, I would say everything up to Angels of Darkness being remastered would be really cool.
Angel of Darkness was really bad though.
Exactly, like a remaster or go through and rebalancing and touch up of the physics and
Give
making
it
it
like
much more playable would be
Tomb
very
Raider
good.
Anniversary gameplay would have made that game so much better.
Right. And I don't think the anniversary is considered as a remaster, right? It's just like a we touched it up, reduxed it a little bit.
It is a full-on remaster.
It
You've
is.
if you've never played it,
I
it
have
is
not.
100%. It's almost a remake.
Really? I'll have to check that out. I own all of the Tomb Raiders. I just never bothered getting around to playing it on the show yet.
I've never really been all that big a fan of Tomb Raider, to be honest. Lara Croft, great protagonist. She's incredibly independent and strong, and like as a protagonist, probably one of the most she stands up with like the guy from fucking uh what's the survival game?
I
Days
don't know.
Gone.
Days Gone. Okay. Zombie one.
Yeah. She's up there with that. The guys from Assassin's Creed, Aeon Flux as a comparison. You know, there's
Flex
a
was
lot of
good.
like among Incredible Acrobat video games, Tomb Raider really kind of stands out.
Pretty dope. I haven't played
That's
Days
way
Gone in
off
a long
topic.
time. I didn't really care for Days Gone when it came out, to be completely honest. It was just felt like another, new IP on the PlayStation. You know what I mean? If you know what I mean, you know what I mean.
You mean one of the many exclusives that make
Yeah.
PlayStation fanboys wet they drawers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, also, this is a good time to just real quick. If you guys don't know, PlayStation has a beta available for the PC launcher. Go get that so they can stop with their exclusivity bullshit. Thanks.
Right, yeah. That would help a lot. There are a lot of many PlayStation exclusives that would be much better to play here.
And I know,
Bloodborne.
yeah, right? So good. 120 FPS, and that would be so good. Um, and also, I know a lot of people hate Epic. Shout out to Epic for making timed exclusives a thing. That's actually super dope. This is
Like timed exclusives were always there. I think Epic just kind of took the idea and really mass popularized it.
Yeah, because I mean, you still had stuff like Xbox, where like way back in the day, were like Halo CE and Halo 2 aren't coming to PC, and then they were like, well, actually they are. We lied.
Guitar Hero 2 exclusively for the PlayStation 2 until it came out for the Xbox 360 like years later.
NPC
Yeah.
and
So like
Wii, I believe.
what was the point of having exclusivity in the first place?
No idea. So, what's a game that
At
you think would do solid in a demake then?
solid DeMakes. No More Heroes.
Ooh, not even a side scroller,
A fast-paced No More Heroes demake would be just the tits.
like PS1 or N64.
Like PS1 probably.
That
2.5D.
that would be
Give
sick.
it yeah.
Mine's Dead Space. Dead
How
Space,
would you even do a Dead Space demake? Like fixed camera, PlayStation 1 visual.
Resident Evil 4, PS2, Dead Space, demake.
You can kind of already do that just by turning the graphics all the way to minimum or playing the Wii Dead Space.
No, I mean like an actual ISO that you can burn and
Actually,
play on your PS2 would be so
now
cool.
that you mention that, Dead Space for the Wii is kind of a demake.
Hmm. But wasn't it its own independent game? Like it.
Kinda?
Hang on, let me see. I know they had an anime too.
I didn't know that.
Yes, Dead Space Extraction is identified as its own title, an on
Neat.
the rail shooter.
Okay, then I'll do you one better. Dead Space for the Android was a demake. And it was
Yes,
actually Dead Space. It wasn't just like some fucking weird Resident Evil 4 type port. It was literally a port of Dead Space with the turnable weapon and everything intact. The whole game worked. That was a demake.
that was sweet. I don't know. I like the idea of old Game Boy games and stuff like that being released on the Google Play Store. I think that's super cool. Update it, give it new online capabilities and stuff like
Yet
that.
Nintendo's missing a huge market not porting the Game Boy Advance and Game Boy Color shit to mobile.
I think
Because like
everybody is. I think everybody is. I think
that's an
Steam is sleeping on
enormous
it.
market.
Like the fact that Steam has a store and there's nothing on it is awful. Like they should be doing something with their Steam OS or getting some kind of bootstrapper to run arcade games in your Steam library on a mobile device. They would make
Right.
stupid money.
How long has a Steam app for mobile existed? Like 12 years? Isn't it time to let it run a few games?
Facts. I mean, if Epic can do it with like Fortnite, and now
Right.
they have
PUBG. You can
Apex,
run PUBG on your mobile.
Call of Duty Mobile is huge. Like, I'm helping a guy set up a YouTube channel and streaming network, and all he does is play Call of Duty Mobile. That's his game.
There's no excuse to not use the Steam app for something appropriate like that.
Agreed. But that and Kali Linux now runs on mobile devices. You have Ubuntu Touch coming out. We're getting into the generation of discrete GPUs on phones. My phone has a discrete GPU and 12 gigabytes of RAM. Like, there's no reason why my phone can't run Max Payne 1 with a controller adapter made by Steam.
Right. And instead of having to download it through some dumb Google Play Store that takes forever and makes it all third party and whatever, you can actually, download it through your Steam launcher because you just own Max Payne already.
Yeah, it would be amazing. That, and you could advertise your remote play through it, connect it to your PC. Now you have the ability to remote play on your PC, on your couch, and things like that.
Right.
Release a controller like the Game Sir X2. That's the one that I use, and support it. I mean, even if you have to demake or pay out to have companies demake or whatever, because it could be a licensing thing. I don't know, but I'm sure if you just run some kind of bootstrapper of Steam OS Android app that launches games, it should be fine.
Right. And you don't have to rely on cloud gaming for good mobile gaming because storage is massive. You can actually fit games on mobile now.
My phone is 1 terabyte.
Right. There's no reason to not be able to do something on your mobile unless you just don't have a good one. I don't even have a phone, right? And even
Right.
I'm like, that is a genuinely good idea just for the gaming
Well,
space
I
as
wouldn't
a
be
business
surprised.
decision.
Like, we have the Steam Deck, we have the Switch, we have all these consoles coming out. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody could, especially with all these Linux operating systems now being produced for mobile, a company like Origin or EA or something just being like, oh, now you can play this super low res 30 FPS version of Battlefield 1 or 2042 or whatever on your phone.
Right. And it would run just fine. You could do a little bit of work, deep compress the textures, hire a very small team to maintain it. Pretty sure
Apex
cheap
Legends did it.
rampant.
PUBG did it. Fortnite did
Right.
it.
Right. The Fortnite is a terrible game to try to run. Have you ever actually tried to run Fortnite on your PC? It's garbage. It runs like shit. If they
I
manage to do it on a phone, what's everybody else's excuse?
Out of dead curiosity, I was like, how is Fortnite mobile? I connected up my game, sir. I downloaded it and I played like 4 games. Honestly, not that bad of an experience. Kind of had
If
fun.
you're if you're gonna play something while you're out and about, not a bad option. And that's the market that everybody else is missing. You're not capitalizing on this. Clearly, phones are more capable now. We could do something better option.
I mean, Rockstar did it. All the GTA games you can play on your phone now. 3 Vice City Stories, Vice City, Liberty City Stories, they're all on mobile. Dead Space did it. I-
Final Fantasy 15 got a fucking mobile demake.
right. I mean, it's not good, but at the end of the
But it's
day, that's
there.
subjective. Like that's just the fact that it's there. We are off topic. I feel like this is an important topic though, because I don't know if it's like a proprietary thing and people just want to like make the hardware that their crap runs on. It just seems like a terrible business move in my eyes.
Right. Like, why are you wasting all of this hardware space and not capitalizing on what you clearly could be doing for the everyday person who uses their phone constantly?
Right, people are on their phone 24/7.
And it doesn't have to be Diablo Immortal with a ton of fucking ridiculous microtransactions. You can sell mobile games if they're worth it. Believe it or
Absolutely.
not.
Nexamon. Nexamon is
Oh,
a mobile Pokemon clone that is very good.
Call of Duty Zombies.
Yeah. I mean, just Call of Duty Mobile in general. I mean, you don't have to buy anything. You can just play Call of Duty Mobile.
Right.
All things considered, I think Call of Duty Mobile was one of the smartest decisions that the COD development team could have made. And it has
And it
a shit ton of content, by the way. Like, holy crap.
and it brings in an entirely different audience.
Yeah. That's a whole nother like when we think of gamers, we think of people on Xbox Ones or Series X's, PS5s. You think of PC players. We never really take into consideration the mobile gaming community. And I said it, what was that, 2 years ago now, that mobile has such an opportunity to be so much more, and it's just not. It never
Yeah,
did
then nobody
anything.
yeah, then nobody's touching it. The stigma's already there and been made bad, right? So nobody's touching it, but technology has grown, we've evolved. It's time to capitalize and do it the right way.
I think indie developers need to be the ones that do it.
Really. There's a lot of tools out there to develop stuff for Android. I host the CopperCube server. CopperCube is a WebGL and DirectX development kit that is super easy and incredibly versatile. And there's a lot you can do with it. And you can produce Android shit just right out of the package. Release it on itch if you can't get it on the Google Play Store.
Yeah.
Start taking over the market.
Co-release your games, put them on mobile, and have like a, maybe not touch controls, be like, here's how you set up a mobile device to a controller, like a PS4 controller or a Bluetooth Xbox controller, or give them links to buy game servers for their phone and support the input controls. Like,
Right.
I'm sure somebody could just make a real quick wrapper that just loads if you're on mobile and looks for a USB-C connected controller.
Right. And it wouldn't be too hard. It would be extremely easy to market, to get the hardware out, to bring it all to fruition and make it profitable. The whole idea is there. You just have to do it.
Right. And especially on Android. Android is so open source these days. A lot of opportunity. Like playing Tony Hawk, Pro Skater 3 on my phone would be sweet. Not having to run it on Aether, which is a PS2 emulator, would be great.
Right.
I just want an
Being able
app.
to just being able to just load into it because it runs on phones.
Or an officially developed Tony Hawk game where it has some of the
Speaking of
old maps, some of the new maps, and it's something that I can pop open for 2 minutes, play a quick game on my break at work, and then put it back and go back to work. Like, it's
yeah,
perfect.
Tony, fucking why aren't you using your license to release the old games on mobile, dude? You could be making like a shit ton of money. What are you doing? Get in touch with the Activision bros. Make it happen. Get that shit out there on cell phones. Make like a ton of money with the skater kids, dude.
Facts.
Like that's your market.
Facts. It's so frustrating because we have these super overpowered devices that have nothing to play on them. When I played Final Fantasy VII, the PS1 version, I played it on my phone.
Just because.
I was between jobs, so when I would travel, I would play on my phone, and I would kill a lot of time on my phone. And it was a good time, and there's
It's,
so much game.
it's almost like there's so much game and nobody's using cell phones. You hate to see it. You don't even have to demake them, honestly. You can just release shit that's already there that hasn't been released in forever.
And there are, we should clarify, there are teams. Like, I think Max Payne 1 is available on mobile now.
Yeah.
Um those are the only three I can think of. Grand Theft Auto free, Grand Theft Auto
Dead
Vice
Space.
City, Dead Space, Max Payne.
Uh, there's the entire Final Fantasy
Wait,
collection has
no.
been ported to mobile.
So yeah, I was gonna say Sony did port, or Square ported a bunch of Final Fantasy games to mobile. I don't know how many, but
And I can't even believe I'm saying this. Maybe be a little easier on emulators and you could sell ROMs. Throwing that out.
ooh, interesting.
Why isn't anybody thinking of that? Why don't you just like sell retro game ROMs companies?
I mean,
Like it's not
Nintendo already does it.
it's yeah, they pretty much fucking their subscription service is just an emulator for the Switch. So if they can do it, so can you.
Well, you have to license it, but I know what you mean.
Well, Activision can use their own games without, titling it the console it was made for and whatever.
Right. Oh, I see what you
Zork
mean. You're
has
not
been
talking
re-released
about
hundreds
like
of
just
times.
uploading a ROM
No, I'm talking about like actually selling fucking ROMs for things that have had business worked out and,
and not
you don't have to be like,
$15.
right.
$2. $2 a ROM. Realistic. Be realistic.
Remember that these games are old as shit and your market is people who are playing them in their spare time. when they have nothing else going on. Like that's it. You're not hitting the massive super into gaming market. You're hitting people on their cell phones trying to play some games because they've got nothing to do.
They got a movie on and they want to play a little Final Fantasy on the side.
Right. Right. Watching Netflix and fucking the all-in-one PC that I daily drive. The old man watches television right next to that, and I sit playing that to keep my mind bored away from the television.
Right. Interesting. And it's so interesting because like if this were to become a thing and like because Nino Kunai, I don't know if it was like a licensing thing that they just couldn't square away Nino Kunai 3, but Nino Kunai
Right.
3 is mobile exclusive right now. I have it. It's actually really good.
Games that would work good on mobile, Bravely Default.
Yep.
Octopath Traveler.
Yeah. Uh, Genshin Impact did very good, so other games like Genshin Impact would also work.
Valorant.
PSP titles. I mean, there's a massive PSP mini library that's just lost. I mean, Valorant was supposed to be a mobile game. League of Legends has a mobile game, Pokemon Unite. But why can't I just get Pokemon Fire Red?
Yeah. Why can't Nintendo just like sell Pokemon Fire Red on mobile phones individually as its own game and be like, here you go, guys. And they're Nintendo. You know what? They don't even have to mark the price down because they're Nintendo. They could sell Fire Red at a solid like $30 and it would still sell like hotcake.
Here's your advertisement, Nintendo, for you. Updated graphics. Just upscale it. Doesn't have to be
Right.
anything fancy. Just upscale the sprites, just so it's clean edged pixels. Battle network works. There you go. Easy as
Yeah,
pie. The online
network
works.
trading over phones. That's simple change. ROM hackers could do that shit in a day or two
They
if you
already
really gave
did.
them the shot.
They already did.
Honestly.
And Pokemon Bank app connection.
Right.
Done.
Most of this shit's already been done for you.
$30. So that's $30 right there from probably what 1.7 million people who would be like all over that in a
You could
second.
host brand new mystery gifts for them, give them events, breathe new life into old games. Look back on the rich history of Nintendo and give it to everybody.
Yeah, because I mean the Switch was, I mean it was a big seller. Don't Let's not be miscalculating their
It was
sales.
enormous.
But it's not a great console. I don't care what anybody says. It's got nothing. It's so boring.
It's got a large indie space which works in its favor, but when cell phones are performing better hardware to hardware, Nintendo should just capitalize on that. They should
PlayStation,
keep making the hardware, keep doing what you're doing. Just also remember there are other markets out there too worth exploring at the same time.
Sony Xperia. I mean, they have
Right.
this whole entire department dedicated to making gaming phones. I think they're the only company I can name of that's actually putting their games on mobile.
Just
License
making
wise.
your game playable on mobile. Give it the thought of somebody developing it, giving the license to somebody to do it is enough to spark a whole ton of interest.
Oh, the whole gaming landscape would change overnight.
Honestly,
Overnight.
tons of people who had never even touched a video game before would start playing shit.
Top 800s, GG.
It's pretty much the same for every map across the board. I'm in the top 8 to 300 in pretty much everything here.
Think you could carry the conversation while I go grab a glass of water?
Uh, sure can. We were talking about remakes before this.
Yes, we're gonna get back to that.
Yeah.
I'll be right back, everybody. I'm gonna go get water.
While he's getting water, did you know the Magnavox Odyssey was the first home video game console and wasn't even digital? It used analog light signals to project a very tiny white box onto the screen that you would move underneath plastic overlays. A little bit of video game history for the chat. Not sure how else to keep it interesting, but I always think that's an interesting thing to look back on. So what's going on with you guys? Come here often? You Play games? Yeah, I do.
We'll be
Nobody's here.
back.
Welcome back. You got back just in time. I ran out of shit to say.
When I was walking away, I was also thinking about like region locked PCs and how mobile games could pretty much eliminate that because you could just release them on the game store. So you could have Earthbound, Mother 1, Mother 3, all of these games finally on mobile.
When you were
Ah,
walking away, I gave a very quick history lesson on the Magnavox Odyssey.
I know this is about remakes and remasters, but I just want your opinion on something, but I'm going to do it in an anecdote. I am
Okay.
so sick and tired of proprietary exclusive bullshit.
Me too. It's a dead concept. It doesn't work for anybody. Microsoft has PC and their consoles covered, and they release shit elsewhere on other consoles too. Minecraft was never taken off of any store. It got put on more stores.
Yes. I am sick of Nintendo. I
They
am
branched out into mobile a little bit with Mario
it's
Run
bad.
and stuff
It's
like that. It's
bad.
bad. But they also, Pokemon Go is extremely successful. They're trying at the very least. Sony, they've had literally no choice but to branch out into PC, and you can tell it's really the only thing keeping their video game division afloat.
Sony is okay, this is going to be really mean. Sony is making some of the biggest big business mistakes I have ever seen.
That's unfortunate because they're such a huge company. They mean a lot to a lot of people.
Like, okay, for instance, Demon Souls remake was placed on the PS5 exclusively. Terrible decision. Do you know how much money they could have made if they just did a licensing deal and then sold it on Epic or something?
Right.
Oh,
Give it to Epic for a little bit and fucking let them sell it before it ever comes to Steam, timed exclusivity, that whole shtick. Make a ton of money with Epic.
that's why Square Enix, when they did all the Kingdom Hearts stuff, just threw a finger at everybody and they're like, dude, we'll take the
And then
lawsuits.
and then you get to remarket it later on for an entirely new Steam campaign. Final Fantasy VII Intergrade did phenomenal.
Yep. Days Gone did phenomenal.
Spider-Man is doing incredibly well.
Incredibly well. When I saw that pop up on Steam, I was like, oh, fuck. Like, I
Came
already
out of
played
nowhere.
it. I already played it, but I'm excited to
But
play
for
it.
everybody who hadn't played it,
God
anybody
of
who
War.
hadn't had a PlayStation, God of War is massive. That's one of their flagship series. It's their longest running series.
If Sony wants to get their head out of this hot water that they have dunked themselves into, they need to go through their old library of games that they produced. They need to either get on board with PC and Xbox and start getting games out and stop holding all of their licenses for ransom. Same thing with
Right.
Konami. Konami needs to let go of some of their licenses.
Didn't Square sell a bunch of their licenses as part of that NFT thing?
I don't know. NFTs are dumb and I don't want to talk about it on my channel. That's just my personal opinion.
You're right.
I mean, they're not. I don't want to talk about it.
No, no, stop. NFTs are dumb.
I'm smart enough to know how they work, and I know that it's dumb. uh, yeah, I don't know. Konami, didn't they who just did the Castlevania NFTs? Is that Konami?
Yeah, it's Konami.
Again, dumb.
They sold a bunch of their licenses. That's right.
Not enough. I want a Police
You know
Knots
what?
remake.
That yeah. They got to get rid of Silent Hill. Give it to somebody who actually gives a shit.
Just give
Give
it.
it to Kojima.
Just give it to Kojima. Like for real. Just give it to Kojima.
Let him buy it from you, but sell it super cheap. Like, get rid of Silent Hill, work on a temporary licensing deal where you make a little bit of extra money before you totally relinquish the rights. Bro, work it out.
10-year, 30% on sale.
And you would make so much money.
That's a phenomenal contract. If I was handed Police Knots and they were like, but we take 30% of all income for the first 10 years, I'd be like, oh fuck yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah. That's an incredible deal. You get a small percent of the revenue. I get total creative freedom with the thing. It's a win-win for everybody because everybody makes money and the franchise gets to go in the hands of somebody who actually gives a shit.
Same with Silent Hill. Same
Look at
with
us
a
making
lot of
better
games.
business
Metal Gear.
decisions than most of the AAA space.
Well, we think realistically. That's the thing. Like Sony's not thinking realistically. One of the smartest things Sony could have ever done was make it so that the PSP Vita was a cell phone. Just a third model with GCM support and CDMA support. All it needed. I would have had it in a hot second.
Right.
But
And you know what? They
no,
probably would have made billions of dollars selling millions of units.
you'd still be playing it today. It would be like 14 years later and people would still be maining it.
And if you don't believe that, there are people like me out there using computers that are 14 years old, still perfectly happy with their modern performance and modern games because light upgrades help.
PSP
You can
Vita Android Edition.
if the PS Vita had gotten any more love than it actually got, that would have been such a phenomenal success.
Oh, but it didn't do well overseas. Maybe it's
The
because you never supported it.
Right. Maybe it's because the only game that ever actually used the technology that was built into the back of it was Tearaway. I
Oh,
don't know.
I can't even name. I mean, I know Persona and stuff was on it, right?
Yeah, Persona 3 Portable was like on it. They had a couple of ports and like a really bad Call of Duty.
Gravity
The
Rush?
whole thing was shitty.
No, Gravity Rush was remastered for the PS4, right?
Yeah.
And there's such a massive library of games that are just lost to the test of time because of the Vita.
You could give the Vita support now. It would still probably be pretty viable.
Probably, yeah. And the PlayStation TV, I don't know if you guys knew this, but Sony had a Roku device. That's just dead. That's been dead. You hook your PS3 controller up to it, and it could remote play off of your PS3 in a different room. But it also had storage and enough running ability to run PS2 titles. And it was like the size of a Roku. That's a thing.
That that would have been badass. That would have been awesome just for Sony to capitalize on and sell old PlayStation 2 games to people who used to play their PlayStation 2 and might not have one.
I have a fun side story. I was doing a repair job, and it was a guy's home entertainment setup, and he owned a Sony made Blu-ray DVD player, right? It was like a Blu-ray DVD player combo.
Right.
And when I was looking at it, I saw the PlayStation branding on it, and I got super confused.
It's
And
one of those great Xboxes with the PlayStation 3 firmware that's like PlayStation 2 hardware. Really weird thing that.
no, it was after that.
Oh,
Yeah, it's newer than that. It actually had the app store for PlayStation games and everything. It couldn't read PlayStation discs, but you could hook up a PS4 or a PS3 controller and it would play all of the arcade titles and all the PS mini games and stuff like that that they used to do. So he had like Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 6, all
really
those
weird,
games on it.
obscure piece of technology for.
Exactly. I was like, "How much do you want for this?" And I was like ready to give him like $800 for it, and he just wouldn't sell it. I just wanted that in my collection because I have not seen one since.
Yeah, that's a strange piece of tech.
I know it's real because I played it. You know what I
Like
mean?
the fucking Panasonic GameCube that everybody thought wasn't real for a long time.
Right. Or the Nintendo disc player
Right. That
or
was a myth as far as like
N64DD.
everybody was concerned.
Very weird. It might have been some kind of special promotional thing, or I don't know, but
A dev kit, maybe.
I don't think it was a dev kit because it was just a DVD player through and through, and then it had access to web or Wi-Fi, and it would download games.
What a weird thing.
Right. Cool. Super cool.
Hop on that Lost Media Wiki. Find the mystery hardware.
Yeah, find that. Maybe there was something like I don't know special about it. But why is Sony so like into this weird niche? Maybe 300 people even know what I'm talking about market. Like, what is the point of that when you have unending support in something like a mobile space? unending support in something like a PC space. I want to play Demon Souls. I do not want a PS5. End of story. Guess I'm not playing Demon Souls. That's just it.
Sad. Yeah. And there's not much Sony can do. You can't just talk somebody who doesn't want the hardware into buying the hardware because they want the game. If you wanted to sell that copy of the game, you would appease the customer base that doesn't want the hardware.
It's like trying to tell somebody who believes a conspiracy theory that a conspiracy theory is wrong. And they're just like, nuh-uh, nuh-uh. You know what I mean? Like over and over again. And you're just like, bro, come on.
It's one thing if it's like actually justifiable, but
This isn't
in most of these
justifiable.
instances, yeah, this is just ignoring massive market space. This is just making dumb business decisions.
Oh. Anyways, remakes. I
Remake the whole video game industry was that subject.
yeah, pretty much it just evolved into that. Because at the end of the day, that it's like, okay, everybody's so excited for these remakes, or oh, we're getting Demon Souls remake, blah blah blah, and I'm over here and I'm just like, yeah, but there's so many like other places for these games to be like playable and viable, and I see like, you know, my grandparents and they'll play like solitaire and Candy Crush still, and it's like, well, you know,
There's so
maybe.
much better shit out there.
And then they're like, "Oh, well, I don't like video games." It's like, but you're literally playing a video game. Like you're literally sitting there playing a video game. You like video games. You're just not open to the idea. But if they
Yeah, you're not playing what
released,
you like. That's
yeah,
just it.
if you were to release something like Chrono Trigger on mobile and that went popular, you know, it'd be super cool to have my grandparents being like, "Have you ever heard of Chrono Trigger?"
I
Yeah, I
very
love it.
often talk to the old man about Valorant esports and the video games I play, and I explain how things work and talk about it. And he's not big on video games, but the more I talk about it and the more he learns, the more interested he becomes. The more he's like, man, that sounds really cool. He wants to play Mario Kart, and I have to get that set up still emulator
Ooh,
wise. And
do it. So
kind of,
good.
yeah,
Mario Kart Double Dash.
yeah. No, just I was thinking like Mario Kart 64 because it's the easiest to get the hold of.
I would still argue Double Dash is the best introduction.
Really?
Yeah, because the lower cup settings are just very viable. You don't have to do any of the crazy switching. And it's much more interesting visually.
Yeah, you're right.
And I think the power ups are better in Double Dash. I think personally,
The
Double
whole
Dash
point
is like the best game.
The whole point of it was he didn't want to have anything too complicated that he wouldn't understand or so simple that it would be fucking, like treating a baby.
I tell everybody to play racing games for their first time because everybody drives or knows how to
Yeah.
drive or has seen a vehicle before in their life.
Yeah. If you've never played video games, racing games are a great place to start.
Yeah, it's a great way to understand the controller feel or keyboard and mouse feel if that's how you prefer. I don't recommend that for racing games, but you do.
Midnight Club LA remake or remastered, since we're on that topic. I'd like a Midnight Club 4 remaster.
That would be dope. I would
That
like a
game
Midnight
was
Club
sick.
4 complete remake.
I'd honestly just like a Midnight Club 5. If Rockstar would pull their heads out of their asses and do something with some of their other series that are really good.
I mean, Agent's not even out.
Agent. Oh my god.
I think maybe 8 people understood that reference. Need
The
for Speed
website's still
Underground
there.
2.
Underground 2, yeah. That Hot Pursuit got a remaster and it was good.
Was very good. The worst one, the remaster, Underground 2 would have still been way better. Or Midnight Club Carbon.
That's Need for Speed, my guy.
Or, yeah.
They all kind of run together.
Sometimes, yeah.
PlayStation 2 racing games.
I'm just over it at this point. The fact that my phone can run PS2 games perfectly fine, GameCube games at 60 frames per second, no problem, just tells me that the technology is more than there for mobile to stop being trash.
Something that's got me really fucked up right now is that Kingdom Hearts HD 1 plus 2 and 2.8 on PC run great. They look good, they run great, and they have random crashing problems because the emulator that's running the games doesn't fucking work. And they were like, no, we're not going to patch these. They're just coming out as they are. No patches, deal with it.
Buy it, then emulate it elsewhere.
It crashes in the fucking menus when you're saving, when you're changing items, like the worst possible times.
It's just hexadecimal variables you're changing. It shouldn't be crashing.
Right. It's opening a menu and crashing. That's what creates conflict and it's only if you have your frame rate above 60 frames a second most of the time.
You know what, though?
So 120 frames a second in Kingdom Hearts, unviable. Why is the option even there? Why did you put it there? It doesn't look good. It makes the game impossible to play in a lot of instances.
This this brings a whole nother thing to my mind, and like kernel level anti-cheat games having not server side anti-cheat. It That kind of stuff really pisses me off. I got out of mobile I got out of multiplayer competitive gaming because I was so tired of everything being console or PC side for anti-cheat, because people just find a way to destroy the files and then cheat anyways. If
Yeah,
it's
you know how
server
easy it
side,
is.
at least then it's server side.
I've never once hacked in an Xbox game. I never intend
I
to.
did.
I don't even play my Xbox anymore. But hacking is a rampant problem in the Xbox scene because you can download the File Explorer and literally modify the entire console.
Yep.
It's easy. It's few bucks, File Explorer, Xbox modified. Don't even need a mod chip anymore.
All of my consoles are hacked.
It's like Microsoft accepted defeat after the 360, and we're like, we're just gonna let it happen.
At this point in my life, 28 years old, gaming since I was able, hacking a console is just like the most viable thing for me to do, because the main OS that comes with most consoles, if not all consoles, is normally trash.
Yeah, the Wii operating system's better with a letter bomb.
Fact. Unlocking the DVD capabilities of the Wii was huge.
Unlocking the USB port capabilities of the Wii was huge.
Yep. Backing up your games so that way your disk drives don't burn out because it's not replaceable. Huge.
Being able to play GameCube games from a launcher and upscale them to fit the Wii hardware
Huge.
was huge.
It-
Unlocking the 720p capability of the Wii was huge.
unlocking the
We didn't even know
fan.
that was there.
Unlocking the fan to turbo it. So that way you can run games at a higher frame rate. Huge.
So Xenoblade Chronicles would stop slowing down to 30 frames a second every time you entered a new area.
19 frames a second. It was
It was bad,
worse.
man.
Yeah, it was bad. But then all you did was letter bomb. You installed a fan controller. You push your fan speeds up a bit. You unlock your frame rate to, I think it was 42 frames per second. Xenoblade Chronicles in new areas would run at 26 FPS. Completely playable.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to wait for all the skipping and stuttering and shit, massive slowdown that would come with that shit carried over into combat in that game. It was a pain in the ass, but having Wii modification made it so great and so easy.
PSPs.
PSPs were huge on modif. You know, I recorded my first ever PSP footage with a USB cable and a bad PlayStation portable app. It was garbage. It was shit 240p video, but it worked. You could actually send a video signal through the USB port on a PSP with the right firmware installed and the right app.
People who have been around my channel long enough know about the Game Goofs Silent Hill Shattered Memories playthrough. I did a playthrough with 4 other people. It was Ian during the Ian Squared playthroughs, which is Magic School Bus here in the server. Yes, he's still around. Adam. I don't remember who else, the other 2 people, because they were just other YouTube content creators that were in my area. And we hooked up a USB, or not USB, it was a headphone jack with a little plug on it that went out to RCA, and I put it in a diamond capture card and then streamed it on YouTube when it was like in beta, because my channel was monetized at that time. So I was able to stream during the beta period, and we played through all of Silent Hill Shattered Memories off of a PSP. It was dope.
Incredible. absolutely incredible that that hardware allowed for that at the time. There were so
480p.
many people. There was even movies took notice that the PlayStation Portable scene was taking off. There were all kinds of textbooks and documents, and like hacking the PSP was a huge piece of pop culture for a long time.
I had a homie in college that had a modded PSP that ran a form of Linux, and he would plug into the USB port a battery pack on that was connected to a USB hub, and he can plug in a mouse and keyboard, and he wrote and like took notes in class and everything of it because he couldn't afford a laptop, so he just made
They
one.
they customized some PSP firmware just to be an image display for some of the girls in American Pie Beta House.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Stifler's PSP that he walks around with is actually running its own custom firmware. That shit is always insane to think about.
That's super cool. Yeah, hack your consoles, everybody. There's literally no point. I mean, think about how locked down the Switch is. Like, what an amazing piece of hardware that could have been utilized for so much more.
Right, and they artificially limit it in some capacities. The wired connectivity through USB was a huge advantage before the OLED model came out, and it was something that everybody was taking advantage of because Nintendo themselves couldn't do Ethernet for some reason.
But didn't they do Ethernet on the
With the OLED
previous
model,
one?
that's what I'm with the OLED model, yeah. Uh, the Wii U had Ethernet, I think.
It does. I have one behind me.
Yeah. So why they didn't do it with the Nintendo Switch, fuck off. I don't know.
That's so weird. Oh, you're talking about through the USB, not through the dock.
Right. Now, well, just in general, through the dock, the Nintendo Switch didn't have Ethernet until the OLED model came out.
That is so bizarre. I didn't know that.
It was a huge problem for competitive Smash. Like, it made competitive Smash nigh impossible.
Okay, let's be real. The competitive Smash scene is all on Dolphin.
Yeah, they're all
No,
playing Melee still.
I don't know anybody that's into competitive Smash and has a Switch. They're all playing on Dolphin
It's
or
because
Ryu Jinx.
the Melee mod is like super huge.
Honestly, I only bought a Switch so I can legally play Ryu Jinx. My Switch has been broken for God knows how long, and I've been like, oh, I'll replace the screen, but I have no reason to.
I still use my Switch pretty avidly. Uh, Whenever I feel like I want to. Like I have this that I'm playing right now, Pro Skater HD. I have this on my Switch, and I am also a leaderboard holder on that in many a spot.
I just don't see a reason to even bother fixing it.
I only got it so I could play THPS portably, take it with me.
Like I have Dolphin on my phone, I have Aether on my phone, I have Citra on my phone. Like I own all those consoles. I own every game I have. I just play that.
Yeah, I could have easily played Pro Skater 3 on like a cheap phone or something with a PS1 emulator, but I wanted to like full send it.
$200. You hop on. I even on the Discord I post all the time good phone deals. But you can hop on right now. Go to Amazon, buy a Nord OnePlus 7T, throw Kali Linux on it in like 15 minutes because it's unlocked, and you just hold the volume down button and the power off button, pick the file, and it loads it. And you could be running SteamOS on your phone in like 10 minutes. Like that is a thing that you can do.
Yeah.
Will it be good? I don't know. Driver support and things like that are very complicated. DirectX and stuff like that is very complicated. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is there's nobody supporting it, and it needs to be supported by more than just a bunch of people on
Right.
Reddit.
And the more used it gets, the more supported it gets. Whoa.
I want to see YouTubers talking about that stuff. Like I see Linus Tech Tips. They're not talking about anything all that interesting anymore. Like it's still an interesting channel. Don't get me wrong. Still
I
very
can't remember the
informative.
last LTT video I watched, if you
Neither
want
can
the
I.
truth.
Neither can I. I don't. I love those guys. I support everything that they're doing. I think it's very important for the community.
But that's all shit that you and I have already seen. There's nothing standing out, blowing away technology right
Oh,
now that
I strongly believe that if
Linus
I were
isn't
to work there, I'd fit in perfectly.
Yeah,
I'm smart
probably.
enough. I build computers for a living. I know technology. I do
Is this
remote
your
IT work.
LTT application?
No, I don't. I don't think I moved to California, Canada for that.
I don't. Yeah, maybe no.
Yeah. I mean, shout out
That's
to
a
them, but
lot of distance for a job.
yeah, it's a completely different country at that point. Hey, but
Yeah.
I can hang out
Well,
with my
no,
guy, number
no,
one Scott.
man, it's a completely different country at that point. No shit. It's almost like you're
Oh,
in a
I'm in
different
Buffalo. Yeah,
country.
I'm in Buffalo, so Canada's like right there.
Oh yeah, you're in America, Canada. That's right.
Yeah, I live in America, Canada. I realized that as you were saying that people are not gonna know why I'm saying that. Oh, Yang Ye talks about a bunch of stuff. I'm changing topics if you can't tell. Um, how they outsource video game development now, and how bad that is for everybody in the gaming space. Because at this point, I feel like we're in the Bollywood of game development. Is that an insult?
Well, kinda. That's kind of an insult to Bollywood, if you want the truth.
Well, they don't have a lot of money like Hollywood. If you were to compare just a
Y-
Bollywood film to a Hollywood film, you would be able
Yeah,
to spot the Bollywood film.
yeah, but if you were to compare a Bollywood film to a modern AAA game, at least the Bollywood film's not trying to sell you NFT rug pulls.
True. It's a good point. God of War, now available on PC, sponsored by Logan Paul. Get your NFT today.
Sponsored by Board Ape.
Join the Yacht Club and get special access to this.
Crypto land.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I
All right. All right, guys.
Yes, disrespect to the Bollywood film, man.
I apologize, Bollywood. I'm on my podium making my apology. I'm sorry.
Check your privilege at the door.
I will. I promise. When we sign off, I'll be sure to. They got the punch cards at the club. Like I fucked up. Now I gotta punch the card. I only get 2 more tries. But you
Man, you
understand
got
what I'm.
punishment going. Yeah, I understand what you mean. We've hit a point where like the quality is degraded a lot, the quantity has increased substantially, and it seems like the artistry behind it is kind of missing.
The writing is still there. The people who are passionate are all still there. It's just
Doesn't
um
matter how you do the dance, if the dance is boring and the same thing, kind of already seen that.
it's like going to Texas and going to your 56th, square dancing event. You know what to expect. Probably square dancing.
Yeah, and likely hats.
More than likely hats. Pants aren't
Hats
real.
legs don't exist. There he goes making up conspiracies again.
Well, I played Dead Space recently for
Don't you even tell me Dead Space proves legs exist because you're wrong.
No. Everybody knows Ape Escape. The Japanese, what is it? Popishno? I don't know how to pronunciate it.
Something.
It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant to the conversation. I played Dead Space obviously recently on the channel because I had a nostalgia trip for it. I remembered playing it on my first laptop at my buddy's house, and then I saw Callisto Protocol, and I was immediately like, "Oh yeah, I'm playing Callisto Protocol before I played Dead Space 3 and 2 because it just looks like Dead Space if it was made by the original team that actually gave a shit." In topic of Reduxes, Lost Planet trilogy could really benefit from a Redux.
Yeah, total rework of the gameplay structures because it's a great idea with some bad execution.
Yeah.
Gunplay, gunplay, not good.
The
Uh,
bosses were bad.
kind of clunky, even into the third
Yeah.
entry.
And I really like Lost Planet. I think the concept is super fun.
Dark Void, a game that could benefit from a tiny bit of a gameplay tweak.
Lost
I
Void, a
loved Dark
game
Void.
that could benefit from a lot of things.
Outlast, a game that could benefit from a different ending.
Oof. Get him.
Got him.
Oh. Well, at the end of the day, I just feel like I don't care anymore about remasters and remakes and reduxes. I would like to see more cult games being made into remakes and remasters. You know,
I I will personally cook and eat a hat if Atlas remakes Dual Hearts. I will cook my hat and eat it for a Dual Hearts remake. That is no joke. I am 100% willing to eat a hat for that.
what did you said that there was no way Persona 3 was being remade at one point during our friendship, and now it's out.
Yeah, because it just didn't feel like it had the kind of attention behind it that Atlas was putting into stuff like Shin Megami 5, you know?
Yeah.
Shin Megami 5 came out and then Nocturne dropped, and suddenly my perspective was like, okay, they're going back and just pushing at everything. When they did Persona 4 before 3, I was almost certain we would never get a 3 release on PC or on Xbox or anything. And we still didn't get the version of Persona 3 that I was hoping for.
But you still
But
got
it's
Persona
good.
3.
Yeah, it's still Persona 3.
Right.
Evergrace needs a remake.
No more heroes. Evergrace. Dual Hearts.
I bought a Japanese copy of Evergrace 1, and I've been looking at copies of 2 just so I have it. I haven't even played 2 yet. We have to do that still.
What's that? Two.
It's Forgotten Kingdom
Oh, Forgotten
here in
Kingdom.
America.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean I still want to take a little bit more time off from that franchise because
From
I want to
Soft
go back.
Games.
Yeah. Um for a lot of reasons. But I am excited to go back to it and play the because we did Darius, who was the other one.
Starts with an S. I don't remember her name.
Sarah. Why not?
Yeah, Sean.
Sean. We got to go back and play that part of the playthrough.
I just bought Fahrenheit, which is a game I need to get through.
It is good. I do recommend it.
If you're a David Cage fan, Fahrenheit is the game, dude. Heavy Rain is funny, but Fahrenheit is hilarious.
It's also very sad. They're both very sad.
Yeah, they're all very sad. David Cage knows how to make a very sad game. Even Detroit Become Human, for as generic and basic as it is for its source material, topic material, and shit, like still a very sad
Cyberpunk
and emotional
AI
game.
have feelings.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the
I
concept
don't
is
know.
cool.
I feel for that. I feel like I would treat machinery the same as I would treat a person. Totally different conversation, but like,
Um, yeah, probably. I mean, I know people are already like, oh, I have feelings for Alexa. Anyways.
I have feelings for Erica, the android from Japan. That shit is incredible.
You got that parasocial relationship with an AI.
I just want Senpai to notice me.
Everybody else is out here falling in love with streamers, and you're like, yeah, but that robot, though.
Yeah, but the AI though, dang. You see her code? That be thick.
I want to clap that syntax.
Honestly, I want to look at all those integer points, calculate some floating computes, uh,
Whoa.
get all over that.
All right, all right. We better. This is
That's
getting a little X-rated. It's getting a
satiates
little steamy in here.
my science.
That's it. If you guys want to continue the conversation, join us over in the Discord. Link down below. Do you have anything to
Remember to go check
advertise?
out Cursed Halo, because we did that. The Cursed Halo playthrough is up on Ian's channel. I'm gonna start Anna very, very soon. So looking over at my channel for that. There's a bell icon down there.
I'm excited about the Anna playthrough. I'm not gonna lie. On my channel, I'm doing Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. Check that out if you're interested. It's currently my best rated series on the channel, which is interesting. Next to Dungeon Munchies, which makes sense because they put a $300 advertisement on it. But that's nor here nor there. And I will be playing Pathless soon. The Pathless, so that's going to be really interesting. So, goodbye, everybody.
Yeah.